Morning members, morning to the delegation from LSSA and morning to the department. We would want to find out from colleagues from the department who will be flighting the presentation today. Mr. Hocha, is it Koka or Hocha? Can you test your audio and your delegation just to check if your audio is fine for today as well? I can see your video is clear. You are muted, leadership. Yes.
Is that in order, sir?
Yes, it's in order. But can I guide you with your camera? Can you move a bit backwards? Yeah, backwards. Yes. There we go. Just tilt the screen towards you. If it's your laptop, tilt the screen towards you. No. Yes, towards you, the screen. Just tilt it towards you.
It's an iPad, so it's quite difficult to tilt.
Yes, now, yes, there. And yeah, that's fine. And the rest of the delegation is in the same room with you, if they can test, or are they in the boardroom?
We're expecting Mr. Ricardo Winan, and Sarah Field was the deputy chair of the Deceased Estate Committee. I'm sure she's logged on as well.
Okay, now they can test their audio. It's fine. Okay. Yeah, I can see. Yeah,
yes. Hello. Good morning, Sarah Field from Cape Town.
Okay. Yes, you are fine.
Thank you.
Morning.
Good morning. I'm Lizette Berger of the Law Society of South Africa. Thank you.
Colleagues from the department who will be flighting a presentation today. Can you assist, please?
Recording in progress.
Can we start? Good morning to everybody. Special welcome to the members of the Law Society for being with us today. The Minister of Justice and Correctional Services, Honorable Lamula, is also part of the meeting. We would like to welcome everybody on the virtual platform. Thank you very much. I think let's start with this, with this meeting with LSSA, so that the LSSA and the Minister can be released to attend to other pressing matters. We have already had a report from LSSA. We will just give them an opportunity to emphasize the important issues and not to repeat the same report that they gave us. After that, we will allow the Minister and the Chief Master, Acting Chief Master, to respond. Over to you, LSSA. You are muted.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, Honourable Minister, and good morning, Honourable Members of Parliament. The report that I wish to present is going to be not a repetition of the previous report. I think the previous report is well known. But I want to start by saying that we know what the problems in the master's offices are. I think it's a common cause that the problems are well known, and I accept it that they are. In fact, the master's office does have a problem. I'm going to suggest on behalf of the Law Society that there are three types of interventions that need to be made to address these problems. They are going to be classified into short-term interventions, mid-period interventions, and long-term interventions. Of the three interventions, the most important intervention is the short-term interventions. What can we do as the attorney's profession, and what can the department do to resolve and to deliver some tangible result by these interventions? And I'm going to venture into these interventions. I believe that all master's officers, it is necessary for them to use emails as a channel of communication. This should be an immediate instruction by the DOJ and CD to every master's office in the country. I think it will improve the channels of communication significantly. The second intervention that we propose is that the turnaround times for the issue of letters of authority and examination of accounts is to be reduced from 21 to the current 21 days to 14 days, and the guardians from 40 days to 30 days. This will ensure that productivity is increased in the master's office and the output is increased. I think this will also make a significant difference to service delivery. Thirdly, it's our view that all APP statistics to be published by the Chief Master monthly on the Master's website. This would assist the Law Society and other stakeholders to measure the performance of the Master's office throughout the country. It would be a very important milestone. We are aware that the Department of Justice has a very open and transparent policy. For instance, its briefing patterns are disclosed or published on the website. So I think this would be a very, very good intervention so that the performance of the Master's office can be measured by stakeholders. The next intervention that I suggest is that all Master's officers to strictly comply with Chief Master's directive with regard to SMS notification and link when a letter of authority or executorship is issued, and an email attaching to letters of authority or executorship as the case may be. There is a disjoint between the date when a letter of authority or letter of executorship is issued and when notification is actually reached. The Chief Master's directive is very clear and is completely supported by the Law Society, that there needs to be an SMS which is sent together with a link once that letter of authority or letter of executorship is issued, and followed by an email with a copy of the letter of authority or the letter of executorship. I do not believe that that the Master's officers are complying with that directive, and they should be compelled to comply with that directive. It should be a prescriptive requirement for them to do so. And if the Master's officers do not do so, then there should be some sort of a disciplinary procedure against those individuals or officials who are not following the Chief Master's directive. That Chief Master's directive has been issued for a purpose, and it is for the Masters to comply. They should not disregard the Chief Master's directive. The next intervention, which I think is important, is that any established outstanding requirement preventing the issue of a letter of authority or executorship being issued must be communicated by the Master's office within a period of 7 days. If the Master's office cannot issue a letter of authority or a letter of executorship because they indicate that some or other requirement has not been provided, then the party on the other side is completely unaware of that problem. The Master's office cannot use the post office. It's dysfunctional. It will take 3 months before that communication reaches that practitioner or a member of the public. So it's imperative that to comply with that outstanding requirement, the person needs to know what the outstanding requirement is. Once notification is received, and that must be within a stipulated time frame, say 7 days, it must be done so that at least the momentum continues and the administration of the estate can then proceed. Then, Chairperson, the next problem is, next intervention, which I respectfully submit, is their incorrect marital status is reflected on the death certificate, which causes inordinate delays to be urgently resolved. Invariably, I would say at a guess, 1 in 3 death certificates incorrectly reflect the marital status of the deceased in the death certificate. The death certificate is a document which proves the death of the deceased. In my submission, it's got nothing really to do with the marital status of the deceased. So at some stage, Master's officers were accepting an affidavit by an attorney to say that...
Sorry, Mr. Goga, there is a hand here, Honorable Mkhwebane.
Thank you, Chairperson. Yes, Mr. Goga, do you have a presentation which we can follow through? Or are you speaking from the notes? Chairperson, if we can just get that clarification.
Mr. Goga?
Chairperson, we are not, I do not have any, I'm speaking just from topics, from inserts that I have. I don't have a presentation. I was not sure what the presentation entailed today, whether we had to repeat the entire presentation as previously, or whether we had to have an interactive discussion, or whether I would be, asked questions. So I have not prepared because I didn't know, I have not been furnished with the report.
That suffices, Mr. Goga. Please
Yes.
proceed. Please proceed.
Thank you, sir. I was referring to incorrect marital status reflected on the death certificate, which causes inordinate delays. This is the major problem. Previously, the master's officers used to accept an affidavit by an attorney confirming that the marital status is incorrectly set out in the death certificate, but it no longer accepts that certificate. Now, to get an updated death certificate with the correct marital status takes a considerable period of time, probably 6 or 9 months. And the matter just, it's a very time-consuming process, with the result that the administration of the estate is significantly delayed. We have addressed this matter with the Department of Home Affairs. I'm not sure where the Department of Home Affairs gets its information from on the marital status, but obviously, in most instances, it is incorrect. Or in many instances, should I say, it's incorrect. So that's another intervention which, between the state departments, if that can be addressed and resolved, it would be greatly appreciated. The next intervention which I'm going to suggest is that all future chief master's directives must follow a consultative process. Also, if there is engagements and if there are difficulties with the chief master's directives, we can provide necessary input, and would definitely assist the chief master's office in its implementation. Next intervention in the short term, which is suggested, is that there should be strict file management procedures to be implemented immediately. Major problem is that the files cannot be located, files are lost, files have to be reconstructed. If greater care and circumspection can take place with regard to file management, then it would go a long way in assisting the administration and service delivery. Then finally, just before that, is that it's suggested that the Chief Master's Directive 2 of 2017, which dealing with trust, should be revised. And then finally, the DOG and CD should embark to develop a framework for attorneys or candidate attorneys to clear backlogs. As part of their pro bono obligations, part of community service, I'm certain that attorneys will be able to assist, and it might be best if there's some degree of consultation with the Law Society, and then perhaps engagements with the attorneys associations, so that they can find the best possible way to assist. I'm mindful that there might be potential conflicts of interest, but these can be resolved. These can be worked through, so that the risk attaching to corruption, etc., can be eliminated or at least diminished. These are the short-term interventions. We've not yet been furnished with a copy of the plan that's been that's been drawn by the DOG and CD, or the Minister's Office. We'd like to have a look at the plan to make a meaningful contribution. And that's our current position on the matter. I can deal with medium-term objectives and longer-term objectives if the chair likes me to do so. So that's and then there's one other issue, sir, is that I understand that the minister is setting up a task team to try and address these issues. The Law Society would like to be sort of at least involved in that task team. We believe that we can make a material contribution. We don't check documents, sir. We prepare the documents. We know what the problems are. We can assist. We want to make South Africa work. We want to make it work for the vulnerable and the citizens of this country. And we want to volunteer our assistance if at all possible. We're not adversarial with the Department of Justice. We're not adversarial with the Minister's Office. We want to assist the Minister not only with regard to the administration of estates, but it's our duty as citizens of this country to help. So we are making a plea to the committee that we are prepared to assist. Finally, sir, I want to say that we are extremely indebted and grateful to the Portfolio Committee to give us a hearing, to listen to the problems that the citizens of this country are experiencing, and to give us assistance so that at least there's a momentum, and we don't want to lose that momentum. We want to do the best that we can in the circumstances. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Goga. Thank you for the presentation. Can I now hand over to the Minister before the department responds?
Excuse me, Mr. Chair, I can't find my hand up button. May I make a comment, please?
Proceed.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Chair. I think it's just important for everybody attending today's meeting to be aware of the fact that last Thursday we did have a stakeholders meeting with the Deputy Minister, John Jeffrey, and I just think it's important that everybody knows that it wasn't just us, it was various stakeholders as well, attorneys associations, FISA, and at that meeting, a number of issues were discussed. And I just think that it's important that everybody present here today is aware of that.
Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Ms. Field. Thank you for that information.
Chair.
Honorable Nuvo Truchan.
Yes, sorry, my apologies. While Ms. Field is still there, can she just introduce herself, please? I don't know who she is. If she can introduce herself.
Thank you very much. My name is Keris Field. I'm a practicing attorney in Cape Town, specialising in estates, wills and trusts. I am the deputy chair. I'm second to Mr. Goga, sitting on the LSSA National Estates Committee. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Can we have other members of LSSA introducing themselves?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you. I'm Lizette Berger, the Professional Affairs Manager of the LSSA. Thank you. And sorry, with me here is
Ricardo Weingaard, Senior Legal Officer at the Law Society. Thank you and good morning to everybody.
Thank you very much. Mr. Goga, you've already introduced yourself.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Can I hand over now to the Minister before the department responds?
Thank you very much, Chairperson, for the opportunity, and also to apologize on behalf of the DM who could not make it to this meeting today because he's in the meeting now of the Magistrate Commission. I also had to apologize because to that meeting to be able to come here because we felt that at least one of us should attend. We also want to thank the committee for affording us this opportunity to respond and to find solutions to the challenges facing the Master's Office. And we also welcome the inputs from the LSSA and other professional bodies, which we find as constructive criticism, which is aimed to build the Master's Office, the department, and also for the benefit of the country. From the onset, Chairperson, we want to state that the department approaches our engagement with stakeholders with open arms. And we have acknowledged from the beginning of our term the challenges that are in the Master's Office, which we found and have acknowledged that indeed there are challenges that we need to address. It was in this regard that the office of the master, the acting master, and subsequently the master that was appointed had a continuous engagement with the Legal Practice Council and also the various associations representing the legal profession, the accounting profession, and other role players in the space. And this was also happening in certain areas where in the local offices of the master of the high courts, where they were situated, where practitioners will be able to have engagements with their local masters on the challenges that the master was facing. It was against this background that some of the digitization initiatives came to the fore, including the modernization project in relation to the master, which is still ongoing, when there are some green shoots that are beginning to come out in the administration of estate in that regard, and the presentation will show. And secondly, the challenges of infrastructure that we have across the country with the master offices, and also with the relevant agent to help us, which we are also attending to. The challenges of load shedding that also are besieging the master's offices, where we are intervening with generators and to a certain extent solar where it's practically possible. And also the challenge of low brand bandwidth that affects the offices in their different type of areas. And also the challenges that also affect the master were issues of corruption, maladministration, and so forth. And this challenge, Chair, as the committee is aware, led to an SIU proclamation, where there is now a preliminary report that we have received as a department from the SIU, pointing to the number of issues related to maladministration in the master space, and more in particular the areas of liquidations and insolvency and so forth, which also led to some of the disciplinary processes that the department is undertaking with regards to the officials in the space. So those are some of the issues that the department had to contend with, which the preliminary report we do have with regards to these challenges. And hopefully the committee at some point will invite or can engage with the SIU to get what they could have unearthed on some of the issues that affect the space. And this also will help us on issues of consequence management, that from the report of the LSSA that I've seen, it's one of the issues that they've also raised. And out of engagements with the stakeholders, including the LSSA, on the issues that the LSSA has raised this morning, we are open, Chairperson, to sign some kind of memorandum.
Sorry, Minister. I'm not sure if the noise comes from your side or there's noise that is interrupting us here or disturbing us here. Can all members on the platform unmute? It seems it's from your side. I think it's quiet now. Let's proceed and see.
Yeah, thank you, Chairperson. On the issues that the LSSA has raised, and including issues of collaboration, we are willing, Chair, to enter into a memorandum of understanding.
Minister, maybe
with the LPs, if that could be of help.
Yeah, let's try.
Okay. I hope I'm
yeah,
audible now, Chair. Oh, okay, thank you. The department, Chair, it's willing to enter into a memorandum of understanding on the areas of cooperation and of work that could enhance and help the administration of estates or the work in the master, that will help in issues of service delivery. The form and content of which can be engaged by the stakeholders, because it is important that there is clear parameters that have been drawn, and I am glad that Mr. Gog, representing the LSSA, has also acknowledged that we will need to also see how we deal with the issues of corruption that may crop in. That is already in the space of the master that we are already dealing with. But also there could be temptation by the practitioners themselves to see the space as a platform for marketing for their work, or to come in and only do files for their offices. So we will need to have clear parameters and a framework in terms of a memorandum of understanding, and then that format, how and so forth, what will be the extent of the participation, what role and how, and what will be their involvement. And we are open to this, Chair, because we already have areas of collaboration with FNB, for example, with the administration of the state, where they've helped us with the digitization of the master's office and also the other stakeholders. So we could look at extending that to the LPC or the LSSA, because there have been engagements, but they were not cemented by some kind of a memorandum of understanding. So that is my opening remark, Chair. I will request that we allow the department to then present, and if there are issues or questions that we may want to engage with me, I will be here, Chairperson, until the department has finished presenting. I could also respond if there's a question directed to me at that stage, if that suits the committee and the Chairperson. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Minister. Who is presenting from the department?
Chair, may I check, will you prefer us to just deal with the matters that Mr. Jorge raised that the Minister was addressing now, or you want us to take you through the presentation?
Unless members think otherwise, I think the issue is just not for us only, but it's important for South Africans to know how their problems are being solved. So I would suggest that you go through your presentation and respond to the issues raised by LSSA through Mr. Goga. I think it is important that we are seen to be dealing with this matter holistically. Honorable Masego Chele.
Thank you very much, Chair, and good morning to Mr. Gog and the team, and also the Minister and the team. No, I agree with you, Chair. Let's go through the presentation and also respond to those issues, because we want to find out if maybe today can't we come up with something that will really give hope to the situation. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Can you proceed, DJ?
Thank you very much, Chair, and good morning to you and the honorable members here. So just the Minister has laid the context already. To mention that, as Minister was explaining, in an endeavor to deal with the challenges that are bedeviling the master's offices, the department had worked on a plan in the past year, focusing on how to improve the situation and turn around the offices of the master across the country. So key to those issues that we have identified, some of them relate to the ICT space, not being able to digitize and digitally transform the environment, just generally the infrastructure challenges, as well as load shedding, as well as part of the challenge. So part of what we're trying to prioritize, the minister has set up a task team made up of senior officials that are looking at those specific areas that will, in the immediate and the short term, in the form of 3 to 6 months, will address a lot of those challenges to ensure that there's an improved service delivery. So the presentation in the main, taking into account the general challenges that we knew about and those issues that the LSSA has raised, and other problems. So we're trying to have a heightened focus on those specific areas. So I'll ask my colleague, DDG Thabiso Titi, to take us through the presentation, the high-level part of those specific pillars that we're addressing. And the Chief Master could just speak directly to the operational issues that some of them Mr. Jorge has raised. Thank you very much. DDG Thabiso.
Thanks, DG. Good morning, Chair, Minister, and members of the Portfolio Committee. We are going to provide a high-level presentation, and the purpose of the presentation is to appraise the Portfolio Committee on the implementation of the Master's Turnaround Plan. This includes, amongst others, a detailed situation and analysis, address feedback from the stakeholders, including the meeting that we had with the LSSA, LPC, Fiduciary, the Banks Association, and other related associations who came forward to raise their issues, outlining our innovative strategies in terms of trying to turn the situation around and highlight the progress made in executing immediate actions. In terms of the high-level diagnosis, Chair, Minister, and the members of the Portfolio Committee, we have identified a couple of issues. Amongst them is the long queues in our offices that are delaying our provision of services and unreliable and slow systems, loss of clients' document, poor infrastructure of some offices, load shedding, and the issues of general backlogs in terms of addressing some of the services that we offer. Based on this, we have developed a turnaround plan which include 5 key strategic interventions that I will talk to later. Chair, we thought we should raise the issue of the stakeholder concerns that were brought to our attention as the department. And these are, amongst others, issues that we had already identified and working on. But from their side, the issues that they were raising was the lack of leadership, lack of service delivery, us as a department not being responsive through our correspondences. We don't answer our telephones and there are long delays in responding to queries, our emails not properly utilized, officials not being reached when there are queries, files being misplaced, queues not sufficiently managed, and in some instances, insufficient capacity issues in various offices, and allegations of bribery, corruption, and maladministration, and where they are raising concerns around the directives issued without their consultation. And they also mentioned the concerns around Section 18, subsection 3 of estates in terms of they argue that there's lack of accountability. And they raised the last point of examination of insolvency, and they claim there's no transparency in doing so. In terms of the 5 pillars that you have identified, Chair and Minister, we have raised the issues of a need to fast-track modernization and innovation of our ICMS, creation of a master's contact center to respond to queries, acquisition of integration into third-party data for intermediaries to ensure that our workflow management is not interrupted, focus educational interventions to specific target groups in making them aware of our work and how we conduct the work and how we can help them ease the process, improve our environment of our conditions in various provinces. In terms of what we have implemented and what we're dealing with from a stakeholder management, we have identified a need to roll out a toll-free contact center solution equipped with functionalities such as emails, WhatsApp, SMSs, and reference numbers to ensure that when the queries are raised, we are responsive on whatever platform that we have, and we can generate reference numbers for easier follow-up. We are going to institute a Master's Complaints Management Committee to ensure that on a regular basis, we look in terms of how we have responded to the complaints that came and how we are responding to them with a requisite standard operational procedure, and also deliver legal literacy through partnership with reputable media houses in terms of sharing more information on how we do our work. And we are going to rally our stakeholders in the sector to champion the Masters Initiative to ensure that we are not doing it alone. We do jointly with our stakeholders. And in terms of the processes that we are looking at, we are reviewing and amending our standard operational procedures. Amongst others is to also allow our offices to close at 1 o'clock so that we can deal with our backlog issues to ensure that at least within 2 or 3 months, we have done sufficient work in terms of reducing the backlog. We are going to have sufficient consultation with the stakeholders to take place strictly by appointment in the afternoons and only on 2 of the 5 working days to ensure that the rest are more in terms of dealing with our administrative issues. We are going to put interim arrangements for a period of 3 months and monitor it monthly to assess the impact of this work, and we'll revisit the situation after 3 months and assess if we are making progress or not. As we have noticed that the issue of the missing documents, we have rolled out an offsite storage facility where we're dealing with the service provider to digitize our documents for easy access. We have agreed on the processes and the standard operational procedures for all the offices to be able to access the documentation. In terms of policies and regulations, we are going to revisit all applicable legislation, policies and directives, review of standard operational procedures, and align our workflow management with the policies and regulations. In terms of the systems, we have rolled out the Deceased Online system, where we'll also do the end user tool accelerated to upgrade and replace our systems. In terms of accessibility, we are going to do network upgrade, both WAN and LAN, improve our document management to streamline it with our digitization process. We are still going to work with the DHA in terms of their stability of their systems, because should their system be down, it affects our workflow management. And as I've said as well, we look in terms of applicable legislation and policies and directives, more so in the IT space. In terms of infrastructure, Chair, there are challenges of infrastructure in all our offices, and they vary per office, but it's a general concern. The department is using a two-pronged approach. One is to allow the exemptions from DPW of delegating up to 1 million threshold, and in other areas where they require major overhaul or renovations, that work is done through the DPW, and from time to time we'll ensure that we expedite to avoid more delays that are affecting accessibility of our offices. In terms of load shedding, this is the challenge that we are dealing with that is affecting interruption of our work and our systems. There's a letter that was written to the Minister of Electricity requesting that load shedding in the courts be deferred on the schedule to avoid interruption of our work. We're still awaiting the response from the Minister. In our state-owned or in state-owned facilities, we are running a generator project with DPW, and we are anticipating that the phase 1 of the project will be completed or commissioned as expected in March 2024. For the leased facilities, procurement instructions were sent to DPW to start discussions with the landlord on installation of the generators. And in this instance as well, we are anticipating completion by April 2024. And internally, as the Department of Justice, we are looking at purchasing of inverters as a short-term solution to address the surges so that we can at least have business continuity in most of our areas. Also, in terms of infrastructure, there are also shortage of office accommodation. Most of the master's offices are accommodated in leased buildings, and most of them are due for renewal. And this in itself will have to review it in the context of including the alternative power supply as part of the new agreements for us to occupy those buildings. About 6 master's offices are due for alternative accommodation and renewal. These two approaches will address both the space shortage and provision of alternative energy supply, for example, in Pretoria, Mafeking, Northern Cape, Johannesburg, and Durban. The procurement process for these 6 offices at various stages, and we are hoping that by the end of the financial year, we would have secured this office accommodation with the agreement that include supply of alternative energy to avoid interruption of our services. In terms of human capital, we are faced with the crisis, Chair, Minister, in relation to the cost containment measures. We have gone and did an assessment and agreed that it will be prudent that we consider secondment of admin staff from the other branches to assist in dealing with the backlog issues. A work study exercise to determine the capacities underway, and there will be reassignment of staff to critical sections in terms of assisting to deal with the challenges of masters. And we'll also ensure that there's sufficient training of staff, and where possible, acting appointments will be considered to build capacity. In terms of the immediate interventions, we have rolled out the deceased estate online nationally, and we are hoping that this will be completed by January. In terms of increasing of our visibility through our public education on deceased online and functionalities on the master services, we have developed training videos to be made available on social media and masters portals, and also training webinars scheduled to start in December to ensure that we make the public and the users of the systems aware of a simplified method of utilizing the deceased estate online functionalities. In terms of engagement with the legal fraternity, fiduciary, accounting, and the banking industries, we have already had the first meeting, and we have agreed to continuously engage. And I think the commitment that is made from the meeting that we held last week was to meet in the next 2 months to assess the decisions that were taken and to see what could be the better way of collaboration in addressing some of our issues. In terms of backup power to masters offices, I've indicated the project to install UPS backup power is in progress to be completed by March. Capacitation of master's office in terms of filling of critical positions will be also finished in the next couple of weeks. The creation of a master's one-stop query resolution platform, the analysis and benchmarking of this contact center has been completed, and we'll be looking in terms of developing a business case and ensuring that we do the rollout of the system. In terms of ICT transformation and enhancement, we have developed the beneficial ownership register, has been implemented in October, and then we'll be able to consider the registration of the Guardians Fund system, where we will be piloting it in March 2024. And this is the breakdown of some of the challenges that we are confronting as a department, and they are listed per master's office in various provinces. In general, the challenges are infrastructure, space, accommodation, backup power, and also increase of the bandwidth to access our IT infrastructure. And in some instances, is to look in terms of the provision of the tools of trade. Chair, Minister, and the committee, I think maybe these are just high-level issues that I don't want to go into details unless if the meeting agrees that I go down to provide what are the issues per each office of the masters. But as I've indicated, these are the high-level issues that we are dealing with: human capacity, IT tools of trade, office accommodation, the issues of uninterrupted power supply that we need to look into, and completion of the lease agreement to ensure that we've got adequate office accommodation. They all move from one area to the other. And in terms of the rollout of the deceased estate online, we have seen a bit of success in this regard, and I would like to request DDG Hlajwayo to come and take the committee through the success of the rollout of the deceased estate and presentation of the quantitative analysis of the system to date. Thanks, Chair.
Through you, Chairperson. Good morning, Chairperson. Good morning, honorable members and my colleagues. Mine is going to be quick. So what we're trying to illustrate here is that we are moving ahead with the digitalization or the digital transformation of the environment through the first one, obviously, is the focus is the deceased estate online. We've rolled it out only to 5 offices. So basically, I think since October, this slide is just showing, you know, the usage of the tool of the system.
$139 medical.
So basically, the users have an ability to register online so that they can consume our online services. We've already have 1,855 users who have registered. About 116 are waiting DHA verification. So the DHA verification, colleagues, is it's very important to our online systems, because every time that you transact with us, we have to ensure that you have the right ID number and so forth. So we verify against the DHA National Population Register. So sometimes it does have challenges, and then that makes, you know, our deceased estate online system as if, you know, it's not reliable. But we are engaging with DHA to try and resolve those challenges. The challenge is that, you know, there's so many departments, there's so many public entities and private entities that rely on this National Population Register, and sometimes, or many times, they are challenged with the load that actually accesses that NPR to verify the validity or the authenticity of the ID numbers. So you can also see that in terms of the deceased estate usage, we've already had, this is as of yesterday, 1,051 cases or applications that have been made. So yes, and also, the letter of authority or executorships that have been generated through the system, meaning without the users having to physically come to our offices and collect the paper copies. We've managed to send, this letter of executorship or authority, through email means and so forth, and of course in a secured manner. So I wouldn't like to go in some of the details, awaiting the validation of DHA. Like I said, it's very important for us to ensure that whoever is transacting with us has got an authentic ID number. May you move to the next slide, please? Thank you. This is just a graphical representation and a breakdown in terms of the offices, the usage of the deceased estate statistics. As I've said, currently, this was of yesterday, but I'm certain because this number is growing every day, I couldn't extract today's sort of statistics, but I'm certain that it has increased since yesterday, because day before yesterday's figure was around 1,010 or something like that. So you can see that the highest users are from Cape Town, and then the next highest is Joburg, and then we have Durban, and then Pretoria and Thohoyandou is the lowest. And the total number of online bookings through our systems is just 20. One would say this number is low. However, we're not expecting this number to be really high because we are trying to discourage our public to really come to our offices. We're trying to offer the means to be able to transact with us in their comfort of their homes, using their cell phones. So these are really online appointments that were compelled, maybe if there's a disagreement between the members of the family, whereby there's a comprehensive consultation that is required with the masters to resolve disagreements in terms of maybe appointments and so forth. So our system is being used in terms of trying to ensure that really we continuously improve. We have committed to accelerate the rollout to other offices. The plan was to roll out to all the offices by end of January, but because we acknowledge the crisis, I've asked my team to ensure that we accelerate the rollout to other offices during this month and the month of December. So we are planning to have all the offices having this system by the end of December. And obviously, if the more the offices they use, it means the queues will be reduced. And therefore, at least our efficiencies will also be able to catch up with the backlogs. Just to add, it's not only the deceased estate that we really focusing on. The next focus is the online guardian fund system, because I think we have determined that the biggest queues are due to the deceased estate applications and the guardian fund. So the next in line is the online guardian fund system. Right now, we focused on the financial management part of it, but as from the next financial year, we're going to focus on accelerating the development of that. And of course, the trust online trust, I think my colleague has already reported that the beneficiary ownership database, we are also developing an API to access it. However, we acknowledge that we have to accelerate a comprehensive online trust management system, which is going to also enable the public to register online trust from the comfort of their offices or their homes, and also, improving the turnaround times. Chairperson, I think I should end there from my side. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thanks, Chair. I think from our part, the department, as DG and Minister said, established the task team and the technical team to look in terms of the issues. We will continue to monitor implementation of the turnaround plan to ensure that we can assess the impact that we are making, and to ensure that we make significant traction in terms of turning the situation around. We will have continuous engagement with the stakeholders at national and provincial level to ensure that not only are we talking to issues at the national level, but also provinces talk to various stakeholders in ensuring that issues that are raised are addressed at that level, to ensure that at least we bring closer collaboration with them. We'll need to identify areas of cooperation with the stakeholders. We clearly define memorandum of understandings to ensure that in them helping us or in us working together, we are clear on the rules of engagement to ensure that we can improve our collaboration and cooperation in their offerings of helping us turn the situation around. The progress report to the stakeholders and the portfolio committee will be held on a quarterly basis. Thanks, Chair, Minister, and the portfolio committee members.
Thanks, Tabiso. Chair, maybe before we close, I'll just ask the Chief Master to briefly speak on some of the areas that she has picked up from Mr. Jorge, which are more operational, but she can comment on them. Penny.
Thank you, DG. Good morning, Honorable Chair, members of the Justice Portfolio Committee, Minister, as well as members from the LSSA. Yes, with regards to the
You see your face. We have not seen you. I think.
Okay.
Can we see your face?
All right. The settings. Okay, I need to go to my settings to do that so that I can show my face. Sorry about that, Chair.
Maybe you can speak at the end, then you can show your face.
Okay. Yeah.
Proceed.
Can I continue to speak? Yes, in the meantime that I'm trying to sorry about that. I don't know. Yes, I think it's my settings from the device that I'm using. Basically, we've heard what Mr. Goga has suggested in terms of the short-term intervention strategies, which he has actually mentioned. And I just want to comment to say that with regards to our turnaround time, we have reduced the number of days from 21 days to 15 working days in terms of the issuing of the letters of executorship and letters of authority that we have a mandate to issue, and also our letters of appointments, whether letters of executorship or letters of authority, come with a QR code whereby it can be validated by the banks, basically in terms of who has been appointed as the executor or the master's representative taking charge of the administration of the estate. And when letters of executorship or letters of authority are issued, we do have an SMS that is sent to the executors informing them for collection of those letters of appointments. And there is a suggestion that there should be an SMS link with regards to the letters of appointment issued, whether letters of authority or letters of executorship, that will have to be looked into the stream that will be dealing with ICT matters in terms of our systems. We welcome that. And in terms of the Chief Master's directives, the purpose of the Chief Master's directives are basically to provide a policy direction to the officers of the Master of the High Court on how they should be dealing with matters. It's not necessarily for them to change the law per se. It's just to give directions in that regard. But we welcome the fact that the legal fraternity would like us to engage with them when we issue those directives, so that they can also have a say with regards to the implementation thereof. So as we engage with the legal fraternity, we will also be looking into those issues. And with regards to the post office issue, it is indeed a fact that there are challenges with regards to the posts at the moment, that is not collected from the post office. Some post offices are closed and all that. The Act doesn't speak of the post office per se, so it means that we would have to look at our processes in terms of how we actually circumvent those challenges that we are having with the post office in terms of us issuing correspondence, because we've got pigeonholes in most of the offices of the Master of the High Courts where we can place correspondence. We are placing correspondence in those pigeonholes, or masters pigeonholes, what we call, and members of the legal fraternity are collecting those ones. But we can also look at other alternatives in terms of how we can address the post office issue. With regards to the issue of the death certificates that Mr. Goga had raised, it's indeed a challenge. in terms of the marital status, because the marital status can only be changed by the Department of Home Affairs. You'd find out that the deceased was married and divorced, but later on remarried, but the death certificate would show as if the deceased had actually divorced and not remarried subsequently. So those are the challenges that we are facing as the master. So, and with regards to those challenges, I think as an integrated approach we can take with the members of the legal fraternity to the Department of Home Affairs in terms of those challenges, so that we can be able to address those issues. And regarding the issue of the Chief Master's Directive 2 of 2017 with regards to the issues dealing with trust matters, I agree that we need to revise those Chief Master's directives. And in that regard, yes, we will welcome to work with the legal fraternity in terms of how we move forward. There was a Section 96 application that was done by the Office of the Master in Pretoria in terms of the trust matters, that would also affect the curatorship estates. We did have a court order in that regard. So I think, yes, we need to revise those in terms of the way forward. And regarding the suggestion for the framework by the Department of Justice with regards to assistance from the legal fraternity in terms of pro bono work, yes, we welcome that. And as the Minister has alluded to, we would need to have a memorandum of understanding, basically, so that we can actually, yes, assist in that regard and see to it that there won't be any abuse of that process, so that we monitor the situation. And yes, I just want to also say that as we modernize our services as the Master of the High Court, we are of the view that we can also free up warm bodies which can assist to us to attend to other backlog matters as well. And I do agree that the services that are rendered by the Office of the Master of the High Court are of critical importance due to the fact that in each and every family in South Africa that experiences a death of a loved one, they would engage with the Office of the Master of the High Court at some point in time. And, as we are dealing with these issues that directly affect us and as members of communities, we need to work together in order to address those issues. So I think I have covered the concerns and the strategic short-term interventions as proposed by Mr. Goga. Thank you, Chair.
Chairperson, thank you very much. This completes our presentation.
Members, can I suggest that before you ask questions, we allow LSSA to comment on the report as presented? Can you take down? Yes, can you take down the presentation? DJ, can you take down the presentation?
Tabiso, whoever was assisting, can you pull down? Thanks, Chair.
Yes, thank you. Mr. Goga and your team, this is the presentation from the department. Mr. Goga and your team, this is the presentation from the department. Do you have anything to say? Are they still on the platform?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we are. Mr. Goga is muted. Hassan, unmute, please. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. May I proceed, sir?
Yes, do.
The fundamental issue still is with regards to the platform for communication. I don't believe this has been meaningfully addressed. If we do not have a platform for communication, everything else that has been said is meaningless. How should the Master's Office communicate with a practitioner or to the public? They must embrace email communication immediately, and this should be a directive. In the absence of communication, there's going to be absolutely no progress whatsoever. So we're appealing that these short-term interventions that we are suggesting, they're going to make an impact if they are implemented. So serious consideration should be given to implementing these proposals. The other issue is with regards to where there is an established outstanding requirement preventing the issue of a letter of executorship. Again, there needs to be communication from the Master's Office to the party concerned to say the following has not been done. Therefore, we cannot issue the letter of authority or letters of executorship. If you do not communicate that information to the client or to the public, how would the public be able to respond when they don't know what the problem is? That's the second issue. The third issue is that we've heard a lot about the online registration. It's clearly a step in the right direction. But really, in the final analysis, at the moment, it's not a silver bullet. It's not really something which I personally would consider to be particularly constructive. Most practitioners use a program to administer estates. This program, as you capture information, it sort of creates data for the final liquidation and distribution account. If a person dies testate with a will, that will needs to be delivered to the master. If there's a marriage certificate and they can't get verification, it needs to be delivered to the master. If we're delivering documents to the master, then if we submit the reporting document, we are going to deliver the will to the master. So if the other documents are delivered, so it's the same thing. It doesn't help us from an efficiency point of view. So the online registration system also is very rudimentary. It only deals with reporting documents. It's one step, one preliminary steps of many preliminary steps. So it's a step in the right direction, but it's not a silver bullet. Then I want to just deal very briefly with, we've dealt with short-term interventions. I want to deal basically with midterm interventions which need to be done in the future. Every master's office, including the office of the chief master, must go under a health check. Put it under a microscope. Find the facts. Find the staff. Find the productivity. Find the inflows. Find the outflows. Find the constraints. Determine what the constraints are and take appropriate action. Long-term goals would be when there is such a degree of modernization with technology that when you submit a liquidation and distribution account, that account must be checked, not even by human beings, it must be checked by machine checked. So that will generate itself. That's the eventual vision for the future. But for the time being, everything has to be done on an incremental approach. It is absolutely pointless giving us a complete plan of the future. It helps, but it doesn't help us for the time being. Everything needs to be done on an incremental basis. If we do it on an incremental basis, the starting point is the short-term interventions. We need assistance today. We need an impact to make a difference to the lives of South Africans. Thank you, sir.
Other members of LSSA? Ms. Berger?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to say from the LSSA side and also from the practitioners, they're very keen to get involved, and they're very happy that the offer to assist was accepted. We believe that through close engagement with the ministry and the department, most of the problems will be resolved. So it is a positive development. We also like to thank the portfolio committee and also the ministry and the department for the intervention, and that we can work together. So it's not all doom and gloom. We are keen and we are there to assist wherever possible, and we will have close liaison with the ministry and the department to see where we think we can assist. Thank you. It's all I wanted to say.
Thank you very much.
Chair, if I may come in as well here, Kerrisfield, Deputy Chair of the LSSA Estates Committee. I would like to challenge or ask how the Master's Office actually gets its statistics. The Chief Master has mentioned reducing the time for the issue of letters from 21 days to 14 days. Well, where do they get 21 days from in the first place? Because I wait on average 6 months for the letters to be issued. So where are these statistics coming from, and can we be informed as to how they are compiled? That's just a classic example. Letters of executorship, they're taking 6 months. So to reduce the turnaround time from 21 days, it hasn't been 21 days for ages. So to reduce it down to 14 days, how's that going to work? The statistics and the compilation of the statistics, I think, needs to be we need to be educated as to how they are compiled. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, DJ.
Thank you very much, Chair. I fully agree with Mr. Jorge that an incremental approach will help us, and the issues around the email system. And I think we had broadly indicated the challenges that we had with the ICT, and we are working on that. But we want to improve as well on our stakeholder engagement for each office, the localized engagement, the master of each office of the master across the country. And so the regular engagements there, and assist with views that we can get from the stakeholders, not only the legal profession, the banking association, and the fiduciary duties institutions. We have had challenges with our email system, and we are sorting out that. We are procuring new computers. So we have a target that in the next 3 months, just that basic issue of communication will be resolved. Other challenges that are coming, of course, not necessary for me to mention them here. Colleagues were still talking about capacitation, and just the past 2 days, Treasury has been reaching out to all of us, different government departments and ourselves. Things are not going to look good in terms of, basically, I can say here to the portfolio committee that all the vacant posts in the departments are no longer funded henceforth. Because of the budget cuts and the indication of the billions that will be taken from the department over the next 3 years. However, then, of course, we need to develop new strategies to make sure that the few warm bodies that are in those offices can still do what they can. But that impact, there won't be an expectation that will increase personnel, will hire people. So we'll look at different aspects like having interns and volunteers who will be willing to work and assist in that respect. But I'll ask the Chief Master as well to come back and then deal with some of those issues that are being raised. Chief Master. Penny Roberts, can you deal with the follow-up issues? Chair, I'm not sure if I'm disconnected or she's the one that is disconnected.
No, we can hear you.
There is Advocate Matibe here, who is the Chief Director there in the Office of the Chief Master. Can you please deal with the other issues if the Acting Chief Master is not connected?
Thank you, DG. Good morning, Chair. Good morning, members of the Portfolio Committee. The question that Mr. Goga has raised is regarding challenges of issuing letters of authority or executorship and how we communicate with members of the public in case where there is outstanding documents. In this regard, Mr. Goga, the reason we want to go nationally with the rollout of the deceased estates online is that there is a functionality that already exists on the system, which is called rework. And members of the fraternity, the fiduciaries, are currently using it. This is a platform where the master is able to communicate with the applicant or with the nominee or with whomever that is representing a client to say there are documents that are outstanding, or the application has not been completed properly, or there is accuracy issues that need to be confirmed. And that happens immediately. Mr. Goga had suggested that it happens within 7 days. As soon as an estate controller has assessed that document, there is immediate communication in terms of the rework or the outstanding documents that are still required. And I think as we start with the training interventions as well as the webinars that we intend to host, it will become clear to Mr. Goga and members of the LSSA that it is not as rudimentary. We actually have replicated our course system, and I think it's a matter of us engaging a little bit more and giving training sessions. The other issue that you have raised is on the long term, which you say would be the silver bullet in terms of an automated liquidation and distribution or L&D account. Just to you would be glad that we have already started on the analysis and design of an L&D, a digitized and automated L&D account, and that in Q4 of 2023-2024 we would start with the requirements gathering, but the completion of that would be in 2024, and ICT is already working on that front. I believe, DG, I have answered the questions that had been raised or the issues that were outstanding. Thank you.
The second one relates to 6 months, that we take 6 months to deal with matters, and now we are saying we're going to reduce from 21 days to 14 days. Can we clarify how we do statistics of those matters?
Yes, so our commitment in terms of our service is 21 working days to issue a letter of executorship or a letter of authority. It is not on 100% of the matters. Our target is on 75 of the matters that we receive in the master's office in terms of APP, that we issue 75% of the matters the letters of authority or executorship must be responded to within, or must be issued within 21 days. In terms of our current statistics, DG, we have seen that the average turnaround time in terms of issuing these letters across the office has reduced to 14 days. So we've now reduced it to 15 days. And with the rollout of the online system, it then necessitated that we then reduce the turnaround time. I am not disputing Kerry's submission that in some instances it could take 6 months for a letter to be issued, and in those instances where there are issues where it is not complete, there are outstanding documents, or simply where from our side there could have been some issues where we misplaced the file, it could take 6 months. But we will be monitoring this. The rollout of this system is extremely important, that we roll out all offices such that we are able to monitor it on a daily basis. And where we are slacking, then we would be able to push our officials. But also we can share the statistics from an online perspective, which Mr. Khajoy had already done as CIO, with the legal fraternity, with our stakeholders, so they are aware of where the statistics are compiled from. In terms of the current process, DG, Johannesburg takes the average 2 days to issue an LOA and LOE, and with the longest being Cape Town with 44 days. And that is how we were able to revise the target of 21 days to 15 days. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you very much. LSSA, do you have any more questions?
I just want to make just a very short response. Is that it would be very desirable if the statistics are placed on the master's website. It's a short-term intervention which we're suggesting, and we hope that the Department of Justice will accept that accept that proposal, so that we can so that stakeholders can have a look at the statistics. The current statistics, I don't want to delve into that extensively, but just to say that we don't think it's accurate enough. Nelspruit has still got liquidation and distribution accounts which have not been examined since 2018. It's clear that in Cape Town, letters of executorship are taking in excess of 6 months. Many of the court rolls are congested with mandamus applications, and if they were being processed according to those statistics, there would definitely be no need to bring any mandamus applications. So there's nothing else that I would like to answer.
Thank you. Can we now give this opportunity to members who would want to ask questions? Honorable Nivot Druhan, Honorable Breitenbach, in that order.
Thank you, Chairperson, and good morning to everyone on the platform. Thank you to the LSSA and the Department of Justice for your presentations. On a lighter note, the department's presentation, I saw the date on page 14 says 23/23. I was very shocked to see that date. Hopefully that's a mistake, and because it must be soon, because it can't be 23/23. Now going to page 15 and 16 and 17. I don't want to take us back, but I see that most of what it says there, it says no Wi-Fi, or it says the Wi-Fi is low, and then also the computers are outdated, not updated or upgraded, the software is not upgraded, etc., etc. So, Honourable Chair, I think we have, we don't have time now, but I think maybe in the next Parliament, in the next committee, we should have another column there where it says other challenges, and then maybe an extra column where we can tick off what has been done for those challenges, and how it's been solved. So I'd like to just add that, we don't have the time now, obviously. And then I wanted to ask the department, with regard to the updating of computers, etc., CETA, do they assist the department or assist the Master's Office? Does CETA, have they been involved at all? And then I also see the backlog, whatever the master's office and the department has been doing, the backlog is still there. It might be because of papers and files. Maybe because the backlog is so heavy, can it maybe be uploaded to the system to make it easier, as the LSSA asked with regards to email and online things? How can it be uploaded to the system to get the work starting? Way forward, I do not see timelines there. For example, you're saying setting up a task team, a technical team to monitor, but there's no time frames attached to that. And I'm also not clear, has it been set up? Will it be set up? There's no time frame. There's no clarity in terms of that. I think that is it for now. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Breitenbach.
Thank you, Chair, and good morning to everybody. I'm partially covered by the Honourable Niva Drachen, but I want to ask the Minister, has a Chief Master been appointed in a permanent position, or do we still have an acting Chief Master? And if we still have an acting Chief Master, is he appropriately qualified for that position? Then, Chair, I agree with the LSSA that the timelines mentioned by the presentation from the Master's Office are quite foreign to me. And I'm sure every other MP on this platform and other MPs, and certainly myself, get literally hundreds of complaints a month about the Master's Office and the time it takes and how long people have to wait. And Chair, we've been there, we've seen the issues, we've seen the queues, and frankly, we've seen the disrespect with which South African citizens are treated while they're standing in a queue and being showed around. So those timelines are not convincing, Chair, and just the latest one that I've been trying to sort out has taken precisely 17 months to get a letter of executorship issued. So that just cannot be acceptable. So it's not good coming to the committee today and telling us we have this plan. It's nice that they have a plan. And I'm happy that the Minister is finally paying some attention to this. And there's a plan, and they have these ideas, and they're going to do these things, and they're going to implement. The fact of the matter is, there's no point in dealing with consequence management unless you deal with management. And the reason the Master's Office is in the mess it's in is there's no management. It has not been managed for many, many years. I would prefer an answer dealing with that issue than these fanciful ideas about what we're going to do and how we're going to implement and move the Master's Office into the 21st century while it's still firmly stuck in the 18th century. So, these are not answers to the problems at the Master's Office. And I would have expected everybody to come to the committee today with proper explanations for why it is the mess it is, and then how they're going to fix it. Not pretend that, everything's sort of okay and we're well on the way to fit. Nobody can buy that. So I'd like to hear about those issues. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Maseko Chele.
Thank you very much, Chair. And I've already stated both parties, Chair. I think I want to take a different view. I'm not going to talk too much on the presentation as it is, but I want to really respond to the presentation of the Minister and also the presentation of Mr. Gok. I think in a very broad manner, Chair, because what I see here, it is a problem. Indeed, both parties acknowledge that there are problems, and there has been there for quite some time now, and they have to be dealt with. And the reason why we are here today, it is precisely for the two groups so that we can analyze exactly where is the problem, because we all know, Chair, these problems, we see them every day. And what is sad and painful, Chair, it is the issue that these matters, they impact too much on women and children. Yes, I understand of men and all of this, so that it doesn't seem like on this, but mine is on the women and children. It is very painful. And my apologies for that. They have been long there, Chair. They are very systematic, and we need to make sure that we give the department a time to work on these issues. And Mr. Gok, we really, yes, sorry, my apology for that. We really now realized that it is even deeper than looking at the face value. The criticism towards the department, I want to agree that the chair, the minister has just acknowledged that they are really positive because they want to see something done. It is a very deep problem, very deep, in a manner that we have to make sure that we work together and make sure that we look into these issues and using also the advices that we have received, the department, the advices that they have received from the LSSA. Chairperson, I see a positive in the manner in which the department is trying to assist here. The stakeholder meetings. The issue is that, is this stakeholder meetings that they are always, that they have started as reported here, are they really working, getting into the bottom of the problems that we have? Because if it is only a talk show meetings or meetings where they just meet without coming up with solutions, it will be a serious waste of time. The department must attend to all those issues that are coming from their meetings of the stakeholders. And from where I am, Chair, the department also indicated some positives from their side. I'm going to say, Chair, the department, where they are lacking, you cannot justify the issue of not responding to the emails. The computers that we are talking about here, that they are outdated, but they can still, they're functioning. At least to respond, send an acknowledgement that you have received the complaint. So if we are going to say the computer is outdated, so why do we have to have people in the offices? Because they don't have those computers to work on. It means we have those people coming every day. We are paying them for what? Respond to the letters according to the time frame. Some of these things are too little that the law society can come and bring them to us because they are operational. I'm just going to find out. Now the acting chief master is saying they will begin to monitor that. What happened to the supervisors and the managers daily that we are paying? Are they really monitoring what is happening? Or maybe are we having the problem of the staff, the morale of the staff, Chair, and the attitude of the staff may be caused by other issues that might be the department have to attend to. These are the small issues that the department can assist and make sure that at least so that the law society, they see that maybe there is a willingness on the part of the department. The minister indicated, Chair, that there is also the investigations that are taking place. The SIU is on the ground busy with dealing with the issues of corruption. We welcome that. We welcome the work of that is the SIU is doing, Chair. My apology, Chair, I just got disturbed. Somebody's just knocking and I want to not to mind that for now. Chairperson, I'm going to request that as a way forward, that as the department is looking, still waiting for the SIU to finish their work, maybe we can get a progress report on this one. And then also we can also be informed about the amendments maybe that they need to do, if there are amendments that they can do in terms of the legislation, that in helping to, you know, to ease the burden in this situation, so that we'll deal with issues systematically and make sure that we deal with all the issues that might be a hindrance in the service delivery that is expected from the Master's Office. Chair, for now, let me just pause there so that I can attend to this noise is disturbing. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Chair, are you saying that we need to deal with the SIU report before we adjourn?
I think if, Chair, you can look into your schedule. If there will be an opportunity for that. Let's get to that SIU report. Let them give us a progress report so that when we close, we are able to inform even our report, our legacy report in terms of these issues, because these are urgent issues. They're very much important. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Mkhwebane.
Thank you, Chairperson. Thank you to the LSSA to raise the issues. Indeed, we are here for that as much as the members of the public. They must come to us to raise challenges they are facing from state institutions. Chair, my concerns are as follows, or if they can be clarified, because LSSA was proposing some short-term measures. I want to know whether they have service standards document. Service standard, it's a document which you are committing yourself to your clients that you will, I mean, you're talking about now the letter of authority within 21 days, but you'll reduce to 15 days, and that is not happening. But besides that, all other services which you are providing, if you can indicate whether you have that, and if that can be published in your in the website so that each and every person would know that. Do you have a customer service or a complaints officer who's responsible for taking care of all these complaints which will be raised by your stakeholders, but even members of the public, and you record them, and monthly you check that and monitor that, as Honorable Jele is saying, where are the supervisors and managers, what happens to the monthly or weekly meeting where you check the performance of the institution and the challenges which are out there. To the minister in the department, the issue of spending so much, because I've checked the report on lease buildings versus the court buildings which are there. Some of them are owned by the state. Have you done that check and whether you can utilize some of those offices? I remember appearing before the portfolio committee, that was always an issue of why not finding office accommodation or even procure and avoid the issue of always leasing and spending so much on that, and that money can be utilized for something else. The issue of now the department indicating buying computers and that's very challenging. And it's concerning. I mean, some of the, there's under expenditure on some of your items, and you now at this time speaking about that, and I think that shouldn't be the case. And I mean, some of the monies then you will be losing, and you haven't even filled some of the positions. What is the plan for illiterate people who don't have smartphones or phones to, in their comfort of their homes, to check the progress of their matters? There's one which is very much concerning, Chairperson, a lot of complaints from members of the public, especially women and children who've lost their loved ones. The issue of the executor, sometimes an attorney, who sometimes
end up not being monitored by the master's office, firstly. Secondly, paying themselves from the estate's account. And when some of the people are monitoring and complaining to the master's office, they are told, no, go and lodge a complaint against that attorney, or when they go to the legal practice council or wherever, they are just told, no, you opened a case, or as well, we will just hear from that attorney, and if nothing, we won't do anything. But what does that leave the poor children who are still waiting for the estate to be finalized, and so that they can move with their life? And how can also SSA, especially their members or any person, they can also make sure that the attorneys are very responsive, give feedback. They don't also, or they explain themselves if they have to utilize the trust monies or the estate monies to do any work which they are supposed to follow up. And the issue of failure to supervise the liquidators. This one, Chairperson, there's a report which was issued by the Public Protector, and that report was not interdicted. I think I would want to hear from the Minister, the Master's Office, and the DG, whether actually even all the reports which were issued, what lessons have they learned? How far are they to implement that particular report? It's a report number 26 of 2018-2019. That report I will share so that the Secretariat can share with the department, and if they can indicate how did they implement that. If I'm not mistaken, the Minister said there is a preliminary report from the SIU. Indeed, it will be good that they share that report or preliminary report with us, so that we can also see what work has been done and how we can assist in ensuring that that is implemented as our responsibility in terms of the Constitution, Chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you very much. DJ?
Thank you very much, Chair. I'll come later to deal with the other issues. I'll just ask the Acting Chief Master to, I hope she's back. If she's not back, Advocate Matibe, to start with the other questions that honorable members have raised. Acting Chief Master.
Thank you, DG. Yes, I'm back. I had to change devices. I was disconnected from the other device. I might have missed some of the concerns that were raised, but I remember before I was disconnected, there was an issue that Mr. Goga was asking about the collation of the stats from the masters. Those are collected from the system because letters of authority and letters of executorship are issued from the system. So we collect that when the assistant masters are issuing those letters of appointments and capturing them on our monthly stats that is submitted on a monthly basis. And then the issue of the emails will be addressed. It's very critical from our side. And outstanding matters whereby we are saying that letters of executorship were issued within 21 days. The thing is, we must remember that we had to actually increase the turnaround time because we were actually issuing the letters of appointments within a period of 15 days. Then COVID happened, and because of that, we had to extend it to 21 days. So hence, I was saying that we will be revisiting that to say that the letters of appointments will then be issued within a period of 15 working days. But with regards to the matters that have actually fallen out of the cracks in terms of the backlog matters, what's happening is that with the individual engagements by the master's office in the jurisdictions of the areas where they are based at, those engagements, what normally happens is that the LPC or members of the LPC or the attorneys associations will provide the list of those matters to the masters, which have been outstanding for quite some time, for those matters to be resolved. So each case is dealt with on its own merits. Yes, we do have a service charter in terms of our service standards. It's also in our offices where it's displayed to members of the public. And in respect of the complaints mechanisms that are appearing on our website, is that if a person is not satisfied with the services of a particular matter which is held in the master's office, what they have to do is they engage with that particular office in terms of the estate controller, assistant master, or deputy master, or even the master in that office. And if they still cannot receive any resolution to their matters, those matters are actually escalated to the office of the chief master, whereby they are attended to, in terms of which we also keep stats of those matters in terms of their resolution. So with regards to the issue that was raised with regards to members of the public who have no...
Ms. Roberts, Advocate Roberts.
Yes, Chair, sorry.
I mean,
Can I continue?
No, just a bit. I think if we are to really take what you are saying, then there are no problems with the master's office. If there are any problems, they are easily resolvable. Quite clearly, what you are saying is very far from the truth. Even the 21 days that you want us to believe, it's I mean, we all of us, we are from different provinces as members of the National Assembly. We know that is not true. Even 6 months it takes more than 6 months. I don't think that your answers, as you have given them, are really based on the actual experiences that people who are suffering from the disservice that is happening there would agree with you. And I think everybody else, including the minister, the DG, everybody else, are giving us information that we think it acknowledges the problem and what needs to be done. I don't think that what you are saying really is we can take it. It's just not on. In the first place, the issue that you want us to use the base of 21 days is totally untrue. We can't take that. We are from those communities, and those communities report to us. Please. DJ, can you proceed?
Okay, thanks, Chair. Maybe part of what we, no, not for now, because now we're talking about the interventions as a way forward. At some points when we get another opportunity, there are also matters that, of course, for members of the public, government is government. So even when there are matters that concerns Home Affairs that they've been referred back to Home Affairs, and the challenges are caused somewhere, they will only know that it is the master. But I will ask the CIO maybe just to deal with the issues around the SETA. Honorable voted, raised an issue whether we're working with SETA, the challenges we have, but just the whole ICT system as well. And then Ms. Mamecha will deal with the issue of the infrastructure that Honorable Mkhwebane was raising. Ciao.
Maybe before they proceed, there's a hand here, Honorable Jere.
Thank you, Chair. My apologies, Chair. I was just disturbed and I had to leave one or two things. I think if allowed, Chair, through you, you can tell, can I just mention them?
It's things that you forgot.
In fact, I was cut, Chair, because there was a door and a knock at the door, so it really disturbed my my presentation. I'll just only raise two, Chair. It's yes. The other one is that one of we need to emphasize the issue of in resolving these matters, the issue of timelines. The department must tell us exactly when is it going, when are they going to solve what, and within what time frame. If we can be given that, Chair. And then lastly, Chair, I could hear the voice of Mr. Gok explaining this, talking about communication. If the department can really adopt a policy of the principle of it's an open door, so that when they have problems, such problems, they are able to know who to talk to, so that some of the issues that needs just to be resolved in a very speedily manner if there's a deadlock. I know the issue of the stakeholder meetings, appreciated, but they can sometimes take long. If they can solve also this issue of communication within the institution. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Chair. DJ.
Through you, Chair, I think the DG has asked me to try and address the ICT issues. So the issue of the PCs, colleagues, it's very important because some of the email challenges, yes, the device is working. However, because the device is so old, and of course, you know, in some of the cases where these network challenges, it becomes very difficult for some of the users to actually have their emails updating on time or responding to their emails on time. But I think it also has to do with the capacity, you know, with the staff capacity in the offices. It doesn't look like most of the officials can catch up with their emails. So most of them, they have email backlogs. We are focusing on resolving, you know, the when and the LAN issues for the master's office. We have upgraded all the master's office to WAN bandwidth of, you know, a minimum of 30 megs per second. However, we are not saying that that is sufficient, but we are looking at the LAN part, because you don't just resolve the WAN and hope that everything will be resolved. There could be some, I believe there's some LAN bottlenecks. So we're working on that, and we are aiming to really have resolved all the WAN and LAN related problems latest by end of this financial year, by 31st of March 2024. Then the other issues that were IT related in terms of SETA, I must say SETA honestly doesn't help us with anything in terms of assisting us with you know, the digital infrastructure. Actually, they are slowing down our progress, you know, in terms of, you know, digitally transforming this environment as quick as possible, because all the time, you know, when you try to procure IT services or products through them, it takes a minimum of about 6 months to a year. But in this case, we are procuring the PCs on our own. Right now, we have identified all the users that have got challenges with their PCs at the master's offices. We are doing an emergency procurement of about 150 PCs. We hope that we should at least have them late December or early January to roll out to those users. However, we've recently, you know, procured about 5,000 pieces for the entire department, and there's about 50 that we are rolling out to the master's offices as from Monday. And actually, we are taking from some of the users, you know, who are still having PCs that have, though they've reached end of warranty, but they are on Windows 10. Because we acknowledge the crisis, I've asked my team to say, please, these 30 that haven't been installed yet, just prioritize the masters. So SETA really, again, like I indicated, they are also really troubling us in terms of that national population register, but we are engaging them because it makes our systems not to be really highly available. I'm not certain if I have addressed all the issues. I think Advocate has talked about other users who are PC illiterate, who don't have means of communicating. I think maybe the acting chief master or advocate Kanyane can further assist on that one. But I believe that we're also establishing kiosks at different places so that they can be easily accessible to the public. I hope I've addressed most of the ICT issues for now. Thank you, Chairperson.
Okay, Ms. Mamecha, can you deal with the issue of leases and the infrastructure that Honorable Kevin has raised?
No, thank you, DG, and good afternoon, the Honorable Chairperson and the committee members and the Minister and colleagues. On the issue that was raised by Honorable Advocate Mkhwebane, and why are we continuing to use leased properties? Why can't we have our own so that we can then reduce the cost of leasing? We are currently downsizing our lease portfolio through precincts, which we are initiating across the country. A precinct will be a one-stop center where all the justice services will be rendered in one facility. And we are making traction on 3 so far, that is Umtata, Pretoria and Durban. And in Pretoria, through our office of our DG, we have also issued letters to all the entities that are falling under the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development, CEOs, to agree to occupy the precinct that we are starting to build in Pretoria. And the reality, Chairperson, is that the available state-owned stock is in a dilapidated state. Hence, we have lots of state-owned buildings that have been vacated by government departments due to prohibition notices that have been issued by Department of Employment. And the occupants are now in those listed facilities. So this is a national problem that the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure is working on. So should we now finalize all the prisons in those 3, I think we will actually reduce the amount of money that we are paying on listed properties. Thank you, Chairperson.
Have you attended to the office in Umtata? The report we got from Honorable Janji and Honorable Nola when they undertook oversight visits, that we are renting a small room in a church where you are paying more than 100,000 and everything is in a mess. ADJ?
Sorry, Chairperson, I was muted. Yes, we are busy attending to that. The offices that masters were occupying in the church, we are busy attending to that in terms of coming up with at least accommodation, alternative accommodation for them.
Thank you very much.
And it is on a procurement stage. It was advertised already.
Thank you very much. DJ, are you done with the questions? With the responses to the questions?
Yeah, I'll ask DG TT to deal with the complaints handling mechanism, which also part of it, I think, I'll consider a leaf of wisdom from the Honorable Mkhwebane that such a system, if we set it up as well, it will be a mechanism in the next 3 months to immediately assist members of the public and the practitioners. Tabiso?
Thanks, DG, Chair, members of the committee and the Minister. We are at the stage of finalizing the integrated complaints management system for the department, where we will create a reliable entry point that is going to offer us functionalities of WhatsApps, generated SMSs, query management system that is going to have functionalities of escalation in case where matters are not addressed, then the matters will be escalated to the next level of supervisory, and therefore will ensure that the system is reliable and is running within a period of working hours of the master's offices, and ensure that we have people who are going to attend to the issues at all the times to avoid the issues of non-responsiveness, accessibility, and ensuring that we at all times keep our customers happy with the services that we offer. Thanks. The system, Chair, is likely to be rolled out from the beginning of January. We are about to finalize the procurement. Thanks.
The question, I think, if I understood Honorable Mkwebane's thrust of her questions, is that your responses tend to be urban influenced and dealing with people who might be techno-savvy. What about people from rural areas who might not even have or know how to use an SMS?
Thanks, Chair. We're looking at a much more broader system. For instance, at the moment, we're looking at the platform as an entry point. And in our discussion with the Office of the Masters, we're looking at rolling out what we call Masters on Wheel services, where we'll identify areas where we are receiving more complaints and make the service accessible to them through what we call Masters on Wheels infrastructure, where we'll build up our technology in a particular vehicle, where we'll ensure that we'll roll it out to various areas where we need to have access. It's a system that we are working on, Chair. We hopefully will be able to finalize it pending the availability of budget. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you. And then there are two reports that Public Protector reports 2018-2019 that the former Public Protector wrote, and she says they were not interdicted or reviewed. So have you implemented them, and what have you learned from those reports?
Chair, I must be honest, I was not, maybe the Chief Master, the former Chief Master might have been aware of those reports. I'll ask the acting Chief Master to indicate if she was aware. I was never aware of them, and we'll prioritize getting back to them and see what were the recommendations that were made, and surely there will be lessons to learn from it that we can integrate in our plans and interventions. But if the Chief Master, by chance, if she was aware of those, I'll just give her an opportunity to comment on them. Acting Chief Master.
Thank you, DG. No, I'm not aware of those. I only started acting as the Chief Master in February this year, so I don't know about those. But if we can be appraised with those reports and see what has not been done so that we can implement them. Thank you.
Thank you. Members, have all your questions been answered, Honorable Janji?
No, sorry, it's just a quick one as a follow-up on the last response. So the acting Chief Master in taking over would not have done some work to check what would have been in the pile of that office. The issue is about the office, not the individual. Is that an indication that the fact that she said she was not aware, what else is she not aware of that needs to be attended to? I'm just not pleased with that kind of a response, because when you take over, you inherit what is in front of you, but you also have to look back and ask the hard question about what else that needs to be attended to. Can I get a response to that, Chair? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Janji. Honorable Maseko Chele.
Thank you, Chair. And I think in addition to Honorable Janji, I don't think it's an excuse, Chair. It cannot be an excuse. What I want to know from her is that, was she not aware that there is a problem? There's an outcry, Chair, about that office. And secondly, Chair, I would want to find out if maybe we can also be given those reports so that we can also go through them when she comes and respond to those issues. At least we would have ourselves aware exactly what was in those reports. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Acting Chief Master.
Maybe, Chair, before she comes in, maybe let me be fair to her and take responsibility, because her predecessor himself will have been preceded by these reports. The predecessor only became a chief master around October, November 2020. And these reports are 2018, 2019. So there was about a vacuum, a long time where the people either before the former chief master who have attended to this matter. So take responsibility in the sense that maybe myself as well should have looked for it when I started in March 2021. That would have already been more than 3 years, but I was never briefed about it by my predecessor. So I will imagine that when she comes in as well, and the former chief master would not have dealt with it, because also for the year that I overlapped, 1.5 year that I overlapped with the chief master, he should have briefed me if he was aware of it. So I just think that maybe I must take responsibility and then say we'll prioritize looking at that report and actually develop a plan around it. Thank you very much.
So, DG, are you saying that there are no systems in the department? You only rely on people's memories. So if they live or die with those memories, the department is not in a position to know what is happening. It's quite worrying.
To the extent that there are other forensic reports that we implemented, about 5 of them, that we got. They were delivered when we were already in the office, but this one specifically, there was no system that brought it to my attention.
Thank you, Honorable Janji. Honorable Janji, is that an old hand or a new hand?
It's an old hand, Chair.
Thank you. Honorable Mkhwebane, is that a new hand or an old hand?
It's a new hand, Chairperson. Thank you so much to Mr. Janji and Ms. Jele about raising that issue. And I think, DG, yes, it's very promising what you will be doing. Is encouraging what systems are there. But I think if we can, Chairperson, get monthly updates about what they have done. But Chairperson, I think committees, or not committees, departments or institutions reporting to this committee or any other parliamentary committee, because that's what we should be doing when the Chapter 9 institutions, not only the public protector or any other institution, issues a report, and it's good that you said what lessons have they learned, because when they take over, they should then ask themselves. I remember I used to say one CEO of SA Weather Services, when he started, the first thing he wrote to all the institutions, the Auditor General, the Public Protector, Human Rights Commission, asking what are reports which are pending, which you've issued, which we need to look into and make sure that we comply. So I think it will be very critical, Chairperson, that that should be the standard for any other executive or accounting officer, executive authority, so that we don't spend resources investigating matters. I mean, like now the SIU report, once it's issued, I think there should be lessons learned. Any person who's taking over, they should be implementing. It's interesting that they followed up on the forensic reports, but then I think we should make sure that Chapter 9 institutions, because it's the same state coffers, work has been done, and there's recommendations which are made, which can also improve on how the departments are operating. And sometimes we might not be facing such challenges. But then the question which the Chief Master Acting has not addressed, the issue of the attorneys and the executors who have been appointed, how do they make sure that they are monitored? Because they sometimes become a law unto themselves and not even brief the beneficiaries and the status of whatever is happening. And the master's office is not overseeing that, considering the fact that you find that it's somebody who cannot do that themselves, or they are not literate on certain issues. So what are they doing about that? So I think if they can just clarify on that, Chairperson. But on the other questions, I'm happy, and I think it's promising as long as it can be whatever they are promising is implemented, and I think it will change a lot of challenges faced by the Master's Office.
Thank you, Honorable Peggy Hatebe.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Good morning, everyone on the platform. I think that it is quite interesting what is being delivered here today, but I can never overemphasize the fact that the Master's Office has done a lot of harm to the people on the ground. As Honorable Mkhwebane has just said now, a lot of estates were hijacked because of the delay in finalizing the issues involved. I'll just make a single example here, is that right now I'm in Standerton, in Mpumalanga. There's Mr. Sipho who applied for his late mother's estate last year in February. The Master's Office in Mbombela sent a query to the Magistrate Office in Standerton on the 22nd of October, and on the 11th or on the 3rd of November, that the Mr. Ngobo was supposed to provide certain information. Mr. Ngobo was never informed. He only got informed when I started getting involved with the issue. So you can see that the harm which is being done to the ordinary people. He only learned this month that there was a query which was pending, but he was never informed. But apart from that, as Honorable Mkhwebane is saying, there are certain people who passed on with their wills. But people mark and break in the Master's Office. There are people whose estates were hijacked, and then to go and try to claim that is very difficult. I don't know what systems is the Department of Justice and the Office of the Master going to put in place that if the harm is done by the office, who must go and pursue this thing to ensure that justice is being done?
Thank you, Honorable Hatebe. Teacher.
Teacher Manager. Or Tabiso, you can start in the meantime with some of those follow-up questions before DG Manager comes in.
DG?
Yeah, I was saying there was a follow-up question. You can start on it whilst Ms. Manager prepares herself to deal with the ones again on the follow-up on infrastructure and the buildings.
Sorry, DG, I missed the question, DG, because I was trying to change devices, DG.
Is Ms. Manager able to come in? Or Pilar de Kadiaka, she was here as well. If Ms. Manager is disconnected, she can answer that part.
Sorry, teacher, there are just hands here. As you are trying to sort out your issues, there's a hand of Honorable Chele, Honorable Janji. Honorable Chele.
Thank you very much, Chair. I think listening to what the last speaker said, Chair, these problems, they are really in all the areas, all sides. I think in our report, Chair, can we recommend that if we're going to have any amendment in any act that is affecting the masters in the next term, can we put in our report that it should be done physical? We should go down to the people and meet these women if it's possible. I know it is not easy, but it's just a recommendation. Chair, we want to feel our people on the ground and also have physically these things reported to us. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Chanje.
No, Chair, thanks, Chair. I appreciate the taking of responsibility and the responses by the DG and the DDGs, but I still expect that as part of that list, the acting chief master will be speaking to us around these issues that we're asking. She has direct responsibility of these matters. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Honorable, there are no more hands. DG, where's the chief master, acting chief master?
Ms. Roberts, are you still here?
Yes, I'm still here, DG. With regards to the monitoring of the executors whom the masters appoint, I agree that there is lack of monitoring in terms of the administration of deceased estates. Hence, we be looking in those issues in terms of addressing them with regards to the processes, our standard operation procedures in terms of how we can actually monitor the compliance of the executors in that space, because what usually happens is that members of the public would then come to us, complaining about the executors that we have appointed. Meanwhile, from our side, we wouldn't have that first-hand information. So we'll be looking into those issues and the issue of communication as well. Yes, I agree that there is a lack of communication where we issue query sheets, and without making a follow-up through process as to whether the stakeholders, members of the public, have actually received those query sheets that we have issued, and making a follow-up as to whether they are also attending to those matters. So yeah, it's something that we also need to look into, and it's part of the implementation plans as per the presentation that was made, that we need to revisit those issues. And we are also hoping that with the deceased online registration system, it will actually, we envisage that it will also work like an e-filing system, like with SARS. Basically when a registration of deceased estates are made online, so that we can also monitor that until the conclusion or the winding up of the estate, basically taking that into consideration. So yes, we will be looking into that. I mean, we've been lacking in those areas as well. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, Chair, again. I need to come in and respond to the issues of the complaints management system that we have as a department. We have a complaints management that is dealing with broader service delivery issues. But for the purpose of us improving issues relating to masters, we have developed a new complaints management framework with the new service standards, where we'll ensure that at various provincial level, they sit and deal with what we call customer or complaints management committee, where they will look in terms of the number of complaints that were received, the number of complaints that have been resolved, and those that are not resolved, what are the outstanding issues. We will then escalate those that are not resolved at the provincial level to national, only based on the non-compliance with the service standards that we'd have set of a quicker turnaround in responding to these issues. I think, Chair, once we have developed and rolled out our contact management system, we'll be able to infuse this in that contact management system to be able to give us reliable data that will indicate how many we received per week and per month and per quarter, and how many of them have been resolved. And those that were escalated with non-responses, will deal with them from a consequence management point of view. Thanks, Chair.
Minister, your parting shots.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Firstly, I want to thank the committee for the constructive engagement, constructive criticism of our work, which will enhance what is already under the pipeline in terms of the work. The challenges that we faced as a department as we came in, which we found in the office, and with the collaboration with the profession, legal, accountancy, and various stakeholders that are affected by the master, we will develop the framework for a memorandum of understanding for any work that they may need to help us on, in particularly at the technical level. And hopefully there will also be engagements on a month-to-month basis with the stakeholders to close the gaps of any challenges that will arise. So that is the approach that we'll take in that regard. And with regards to the question asked by Honorable Bredenbach of the whether we have a substantive appointment of the chief master, no, we don't. The position was filled, chairperson, in 2020. The master served for a period of about 24 months, and he resigned chair to go and work at the NPA, almost a lower or similar position, but not at the level where he is a head of a section, which we tried to engage him to stay, but he refused, and it was apparent that the reasons that are making him to leave are issues related to his own security. But he did not want to disclose anything further because of the situation and the surrounding environment, which relates to the master's office. So that he left early this year, around February or Jan, somewhere there, despite all our attempts to persuade him to stay. And as honorable members are aware, that there are senior managers who are suspended in the master's office due to processes that they are undergoing of disciplinary processes, and some of the reports that we have in the master space. We had to request the master of Pretoria to be the one who act in that position. She's located where the head office is, and one of those that could help us, and she has accepted to act since the departure of the chief master. We have also advertised the position, Honorable Chairperson. Unfortunately, we could not attract suitable candidates, and we have since the DG has advised me that he has written to the various stakeholders and organizations within the space to advise them that the position it remains vacant, and if there are any individuals that they know who possess the skills and the required competencies, they can be looked at interviews and so forth. So that is where we are with regards to the position of the chief master. We intend to fill it as soon as we find a suitable candidate, because we also understand the need for that office to have a leader. All in all, Chair, that is what we take away, and we leave the meeting with the inputs that have been provided by all honorable members to put into the basket of the plan that the department is developing, which we will further consolidate and conclude with those frameworks and memorandum of understanding with the legal profession and the other stakeholders. Then we approve the plan. What you have seen here, it's part of that plan, and it's a plan that we intend to approve within the next week or so that we now move to the level of full implementation. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Minister, for the closing remarks. I think let me start with the comment that was made by Honorable Jello, which I think is very important. Even if you can buy as many computers, but as long as people do not read and respond to the emails, those computers will be of no use. I think the starting point is for people to be responsive, and managers should inculcate that culture. And if people are not responsive, are not responding to their emails, they should not be part of the public service. Because I think everything starts there. I thought it was a very important point to be made. Your supervisory management should do their work, and they should be supervised to ensure that they are doing their work. The plan that you have presented to us will succeed or fail depending on how home bodies are implementing it. So what we would want to suggest to you, Minister, is that you have monthly meetings to get reports. I think these matters, although they are operational, but they have the gravest impact to our people, and that was clearly articulated by Honorable Khatebe, who is not even a member of this committee. But I think, having been told that this matter is being discussed as an MP who deals with these issues on a daily basis, he thought it important that he must be part of this meeting. That's how grave the situation is, and that is how emotive the situation is, because in most cases, it affects the most vulnerable people at the most vulnerable time in their lives. The least you can have is to have an unresponsive system when you are most vulnerable. So we would like, Minister, if you can have those monthly meetings. DG, this should preoccupy you every day, the issue of the Master's Office. Before the Ministers' meetings, which will be monthly, you should be ensuring that you are on top of every state master, the chief master, to ensure that the plan that you have put in front of us is indeed implementable and is being implemented. We request a report at the end of January. Parliament will still be competent to act. End of January, we expect a report, the first report of your short-term interventions. And in that report, you don't only deal with what I would say are input issues, but the measurement of impact of those input things you would have done. We would like to know, for instance, how these letters have been reduced from many months and even years to that 15 days, 14 days we are talking about. So that should be reflected in that report. And then secondly, the reports that Honorable Mukwebane is talking about in her capacity as a public protector, then we would like, firstly, by Tuesday to get those reports lodged with us, with the committee. Want to have a sight of those reports. If you can be furnished with those reports, all of them. And as part of the report in January, we would like to know what has been done to implement the recommendations, which according to them, we'll take them as face value, which according to her, they were never reviewed nor interdicted. So, which means they are binding. We would want to know what has been done with regard to those reports, all of them, end of January this next year. I think what we'll also need to recommend to the new committee, it's what the subcommittee on correctional services did since 2019, is that they were doing a thematic oversight. They sat down and said, this is the problem, and then this is how we are going to be in a thematic way responding and doing oversight driven by that particular theme over a quarter, over a term, and then over 6 months and over a year. Because we would not be able to succeed, or that committee would not be able to succeed if there is not a thematic oversight, and an oversight that is constant over the department. It should be made one of the priority areas that would be, we'll do everything else, but we will start every time we will have to be seized with that particular area, which is the master's office. In every meeting, we should be getting an update as to what has been done in that particular month, in that particular week, which feeds into the overall strategy or plan that you have suggested to us here, including meetings that you would have had with all the stakeholders. We would want to know how many meetings we would have had in a quarter. In fact, how do they respond to this plan that you have presented? And then every 6 months, we would have a meeting that would deal with just looking at or analyzing the impact of those plans. What kind of impact are those plans doing in terms of changing the lives of our people? There was a suggestion by Honorable Jele that we meet to receive a report from the SIU before we adjourn this year. Can I get an indication whether there is support for that view? Because if we do it, it means that we have to change our program. Certain things would not be done, which are part of the program. Program, yes. Honorable Breitenbach.
Thanks, Chair. I support the request for a report, but I'm not sure it's necessary for SIU to come and report. If they can provide us with a report, we can read it. If there are issues, we can then consider changing our program. Otherwise, I don't think it's necessary.
Is that all? Are you done, Honorable Gutenberg?
Yes, I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Nivot Trofen. Honorable Nivot Trofen.
Chairperson, maybe not they won't be able to come to the meeting, but we can read the report through then. I agree with Honorable Breitenbach that we then receive the report to read through.
Honorable Minister, will you furnish us with that preliminary report?
Yes, Chairperson.
Please unpin me.
Thank you very much. So I think that is how we propose the way forward. I'm very happy with the way forward as proposed by the Department of quarterly reports, but I think we're trying to beef up what nature of in fact, what form should those quarterly reports take in as far as our work, that is their work, in as far as our work as Parliament is concerned. That is my way forward that I propose to the committee. Because it exceeds the term of office. Can I get comments from members? Honorable Jelle?
Thank you, Chair. No, I just wanted to find out a clarity, Chair. After you have received that report, are we going to be having an opportunity to talk to that report before we close, or maybe we'll just put it in our next year and it was a program?
From what you earlier suggested, we have to discuss it. I thought that was what you were saying. And check, and how does, in fact, how does it link to our, in fact, what suggestions are we making to our legacy report based on that particular report also? So which means we will take the report we have received today, the plan of the department, the public protector's reports, that report, and to say, and then how do those fit into our legacy report?
Thank you, Chair.
So are we fine with the way forward?
Agreed. Yes, Chair.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much to the department. Thank you, Minister, to LSSA. Thank you very much for enhancing our participatory democracy. I think it's very important that we have active citizenry. When issues are not done according to the way you think they should be done, that they should be, it is the duty of every one of us in this country to force government to work. If issues you think that they are not done to your satisfaction, you bring them to the attention of public representatives, and we also make the departments accountable, and Parliament should be made accountable. We really thank you for doing that, to put our democracy to a real test, that it is indeed a participatory democracy. Thank you very much. Can we go to the next item? That is the state liability report. The report was circulated. It will be taken as read. Can the committee secretary flight the report? A report of the Portfolio Committee on Justice and Correctional Services on the State Liability Amendment Bill, B16 of 2018, dated 24 November 2023. Are there any corrections on page 1? No corrections. Is there a mover for the adoption of the report?
Honorable Wilman Yatruchen moves for the adoption of the report.
Honorable Nyuvotruchen moves. Any seconder?
Masakojele Chair, second the adoption of the report.
Honorable Masakojele moves. Seconds. Any objections? No objections. The report is agreed to. The next report is on this hate crime, hate speech. The report was circulated and is taken as read. The report of the Portfolio Committee on Justice and Correctional Services on the Prevention and Combating of Hate Crimes and Hate Speech Bill, B9B of 2018, National Assembly, Section 75, 24th November 2023. Are there any corrections on this report? No corrections. Is there a mover for the adoption of the report?
Honorable Wilman Yatruchen move for the adoption of the report.
Honorable Nyuvotruchen moves for the adoption of the report. Any seconder?
Chair, I second.
Honorable Masakojele seconds. Any objections? No objection. The report is agreed to. Thank you very much. That brings us to the end of the meeting. We will meet on Tuesday. Can the committee secretary explain the logistics for Tuesday? LSSSA, you are excused.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Bye-bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair, once again. The workshop, we have secured 15 on Orange Hotel in Cape Town, Chair. As we previously indicated, we provisionally booked Pepper Club Hotel, but when we were finalizing the logistics, we were informed that Pepper Club was now full. We then sourced other hotels. We are going to transport members from their parks, those members that will need transport from their parks to the venue and back to the parks after the workshop, Chair. On day 2, members will also be transported to the venue, but however, we will then inquire from members if members would go from, because as the workshop is planned, is that from day 1 it's the full day, then on day 2 the committee will meet, the workshop will go up to lunchtime. So we're not sure if members would then go to join parliament session or members would go to the office and log into the parliament session for day 2. That's how far is it. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Any questions on the logistics? And I think we are clear. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Recording stopped.